We are back, Tony. It's Dave. Win Daily Sports, where you find us, obviously, windailysports.com. This is the 5 and 5, and Dave, we're getting right into this Friday weekend slate. Right off the bat, ace of the slate. Who you looking at?
A lot of good arms on the slate tomorrow night, but the one you really got to look at, and honestly, Max Scherzer just tops the list. And a lot of reasons why you have to love Max Scherzer is really his value of throwing deep into the games. His manager trusts him. Buck Showalter says, hey, the ball's yours. You go as long as you can go. The guy has no leash. And in this game, that's something that you always have to value. The guy can throw 100 pitches, and if he's on, Buck will let him go. He's not going to be Clayton Kershaw pulling him in 7 innings when he's throwing no-hitter. Max is a workhorse, and it's a guy that, has good history against Philadelphia, a guy that I think you definitely have to roster. Another one, Garrett Cole's been turning it on lately, and he faces a Texas team that only hits 194 against him. And I think Garrett Cole is starting to find his way in this new baseball era, right? The grip, he's big on spin rates, but I think Garrett Cole is starting to figure out. So those two at the top of the lineup, Tone, I really think have a lot of value. And the third one I'm going to give you is Kevin Gausman. FanGraphs WAR, he's right up there at the top. It's a guy that is a tremendous K rate to date. He's one that I'm ready to roster almost every single time. He found a fountain of youth in San Fran, and he's brought it over to Toronto. And he gets up against a tough Guardians team, a team that really is in the top 3 hitting in all categories, but they do struggle against power pitchers. Carlos Rodon had a good game against them earlier this year. I think Gausman will have the same.
Now, on the other end, we're always looking at guys we're going to attack. Who are we going to attack with the bats? Who's going to be the gas can? Who's going to be the one that gives up the most hits to the opposing team?
Living in Philadelphia, I can't believe this guy is still pitching for a major league team, but it's Vince Velasquez. He had a decent outing his last time out. The Boston Red Sox hit 305 against VV, but his FIP, which is a predictive measure of his performance, his ERA, is 10.02. His fielding, they just raped this guy. I can't see him getting into the fourth. I think the Red Sox are a great stack tomorrow. Vinny V, he does not pitch well in Boston. He's faced up against Eovaldi, who is a good power pitcher. I think it's too much to ask out of Vince Velasquez tomorrow.
Always go against Vinny V. So you have Boston Red Sox. Now, how about sneaky stack? Is there a sneaky stack on the slate that maybe, you look at, maybe other people aren't looking at?
One of the teams that I'm looking at, and it's not a great hitting team, but you got to look at the Kansas City Royals. In their career, they're hitting 368 off Baltimore Orioles starter Jordan Lyles. Their whiff rate is 16%. Their K rate's 15%. So they do put the balls in play against Jordan Lyles. You just look at Whit Merrifield. Off the top, he's 4 for 7 in his career in 571. So you got a lot of guys up and down this lineup. Salvi Perez, he's 2 for 8. Okay, 250. But you know what those 2 hits were? Both home runs. Benintendi hitting 333. He's in the top 10 in batting average in the MLB, having a great year. So really, in the end, I don't think a lot of people stack a Royals lineup just because they're not a powerful hitting team, but they have great numbers against Jordan Lyles. So I would consider Perez, Merrifield, Benintendi, and also Witt Jr., who finally hit his first home run of his career the other day. I think those 4 would be attractive stacks tomorrow.
I like that stack. I really do. And I'm going to go Olivares right there, batting 364 at 2,500 for the FFVP, because this is a sneaky lineup that can really get you some really good production, low ownership value, and bring you some PPP, which is positive point production. Now, David, as we close this out, we talk about value, whether it be a pitcher, whether it be a batter. What do you got for your value play?
Well, I've been huge on Merrill Kelly all year. If you've read my articles, even from game 1, I just thought this guy was a bounce-back candidate, and he's blown away my expectations. But I'm not going to put him in play, but I will tell you, I think there's value in him. Looking at a batter that really attracts me tomorrow is Akil Baddoo out of the Detroit Tigers. He faces Luis Garcia. In his career, he's 4 for 4 off Luis Garcia. 3 of those are X-race hits. So he will likely be in the lineup. He's been in the lineup more lately. Valued at $3,500 tonight. He's probably going to be somewhere in that range tomorrow. But Akil Baddoo, if you remember, Tone, last year he came out and was on fire for the first 2 weeks of the season. People were buying up his rookie cards. He was the next big thing. He kind of faded off, and now he's in the back end of people's minds. Batting 1,000 off Luis Garcia.
Why not? And there you have it. This is the 5 for 5. For windailysports.com. Give us a follow on all social formats. For Tony, for Dave, everybody have a great weekend, and make sure you grab some profit.